what I love about soulful house music is like, you know, you could just dance, have a good time, drink a glass of water, and it's like the people there are 99.9% just there to vibe, you know, and that's to me, that's what soulful house music is.
Cool. So today is January 20th, 2021, Inauguration Day. Who are we speaking with?
Brian Burnside.
What is Deepa?
What is Deepa? Deepa was a party first. We started way back, I think it was around 2004. There was 4 guys. It was Mark, Tony, and Sal. And we did our parties started on the West Side Highway. Our first guest was Freddie Sannon and Amina, and I forgot who else was with us at that time. But we had a party there. It was pretty cool, and it just grew from there. And that was the first city party. But prior to that, we were doing parties in Brooklyn and Bay Ridge and Bensonhurst, and a place called the Muse. And I was playing hip hop back then. I would open up and play like Tribe Called Quest and all my favorite 90s stuff, and, you know, just get the room going, have the people drinking. And then we would slowly progress into house music. And, you know, we would just have good times there. We actually had Ted Patterson play in Brooklyn, in Bensonhurst, actually. So that was an eye opener for him. So it was like, whoa, look at these white boys getting down. So it was a lot of fun. And yeah, so that was Deepa, man. And that went on for quite some time. We became a record label. We had some vinyl out. We did, we started doing digital. And then around, about, let's say like 2010, like it went away. Like we all started going our own separate ways. Everybody, started getting together with their significant others, and it just kind of faded. And I just went on my own to pursue DJing.
Talk to me about that West Side Highway party. That I never went to that party. Everyone still today still talks about that party. Are there photos and video of that at all?
There is some. It's very random. It was way before social media was big, and cell phones. People. I took pictures with like an Instamatic camera. I have an old Mac that has like tons of pictures. I think on Facebook I have like a folder somewhere in there with all the pictures that I've done. But that party was an after work party. It started like 5 o'clock. I was working at Mark Echo at that time, and I would bring my records to work, and just tell everybody, yo, come by. We're gonna have a party. It's free. We're playing all kinds of music, and we played real deep and sexy early. And then, sure enough, by 10 o'clock, the place was jam packed, wall to wall. It was crazy. I mean, there was guys like Todd Terry there, Timmy Regisford were just hanging out. Like, who the hell are these kids throwing this parties? White boys, like what are they doing? They're playing soulful house. It's like it was unfathomable to a lot of people because we weren't big name DJs. The label really wasn't just getting started. So it was just like this great buzz of great people, friends that just love house music, and just it was pure love. And it just grew and grew and grew, and it was great. And Turntables on the Hudson actually would do the party afterwards. Like they would do the nighttime party. So there was a couple of times where, the party was just rocking. And I remember this one, and I, like I said, I used to always open before, I got into my groove. And my partner, Sal, at that time, he got, I think he had like a kidney stone operation, and he wasn't there. So I played the peak set. And, I'm playing, and then Ted Patterson goes on. Like we had him as a guest. And he's rocking it. And then Nico goes, you guys stay on. You keep playing. Like, you guys keep playing. We'll get back on later. So, like, we played till, 2 o'clock in the morning. And then Nico got on, and they did their thing. And, but again, it was a moment in time when New York was just pure and just a lot of fun. It wasn't that festival culture yet. It was just pure house music. We played everything, from Afro, deep, soulful house, Kerry Chandler type stuff to we bring a little dirty music, we got a little Eric Morillo-ish towards later in the night, and people just were getting down. Nobody cared. It was just a lot of fun, lots of fun. Missed those times, man.
Wow.
It was nice having the sun set on your back and just turning around. It was like water, and it was the moment, like the sound system was okay, but it didn't matter. Like it was just a lot of fun, just being outside and listening to great music.
When did you fall in love with house music?
That's a good question. I always liked house music. I was a hip hop head first. I grew up, you know, I listened to a lot of like Tribe Called Quest, like I said before, Public Enemy, you know, Boogie Down Productions. I was into a lot of hip hop. But you know, freestyle was big when I was younger. But to say what got me into house music, I would say I went out with my cousin one night. We're in Long Island, and I was in college at the time, and I think it was Everybody Be Somebody was on the DJ was playing. Everybody Be Somebody, and I'm like, you know, dancing. You know, me and my cousin and our friends are all out. We're having a great time, and I'm like, oh, that was dope. And you know, I started listening to house music, but I never took it seriously. I never knew DJs. I didn't know music or, you know, who played what. And I just started buying CDs because this is when CDs were coming out a lot. So a lot of times I would buy a lot of harder stuff. Like there was a lot of, you know, harder DJs that I liked. Eric Murillo, Danny Tenaglia. You know, I listened to everything when I was younger, but I got into the hard stuff first, and then I meandered to house music. So it was just kind of like I went the opposite route, everybody, in terms of that. And you know, and then I finally got into deep soulful houses when I went to Shelter. A friend of mine, Mark Bartolomeo, he's one of my best friends. He took me there on a Saturday night after, you know, we went out to like Cheetah or something, and it was like, you know, an after hours party, and he's like, oh, come on, I'm going to take you to Shelter. And I went there, and I was like, holy shit. Like the music was just on point. People just wall to wall dancing. Energy was crazy. Timmy was just, you know, just knocking it out of the park. And I just was like, holy shit, this is it. This is, I like this feeling. Like there was no drugs. It was just pure energy. And that's what really, what I gravitated towards, because when I used to go, you know, I used to go to the harder stuff. I was going to like, you know, Sound Factory and, you know, Jonathan Peters type stuff. And the music was cool. I liked it. It was good. But the vibe, man, there was too much drugs. Like it just got out of hand. And I reached a point where, you know, I would party with my friends, we would have a good time. And this one time I got a job to go to Ohio. I got a job at Abercrombie and Fitch, and we were partying. And I decided to do some ecstasy. And long story short, I almost didn't make it out. I ended up in the hospital. I was a John Doe, 2 weeks in a coma. So yeah, I don't remember much. I just remember waking up and my friends are there, my dad's there. I thought it was the same night, like when I first started coming to. And my father, you know, basically, so, you know, all right, let me talk to him. So I was like, hey, Dad, what's up? He's like, do you know what happened to you? I said, no, what happened? Tell me what happened. Because you've been in a coma for 2 weeks. And I went, oh, shit. I said, I didn't know that. He goes, what'd you do? What happened? I said, I took some ecstasy and I don't know what happened. He goes, well, I'll tell you what happened. You ended up in the hospital. You were on a ventilator and we thought you were going to die. And I was like, I'm sorry. Like, I didn't know what to say. You know, I apologized. You know, I talked to my friends, and then after like that day on, it was just like, all right, I'm gonna make some changes. And I went to Ohio for a year, made some great friends. You know, like there was a music scene, but it wasn't. It was like hip hop wasn't even being played. It was like very cheesy. It was weird at that time. And then when I came back to, like, I would come back on the weekends, hang out with my friends. And then when I came back to New York, like I said, that's when I started hanging out with Mark a lot. And we just started doing Sound Factory and the whole soulful thing and the music and the lyrics and just the soulfulness of it spoke to me. Like it was real. It touched me. And I was like, okay, I still like music. I always did. I always liked to dance. I always felt it. And, you know, I never turned back ever since.
Wow. Incredible story.
Yeah.
Talk to us about the transition from going to the club to becoming a DJ.
It's kind of funny. It was like, you know, one day I was, you know, I'll tell you how it happened. It was a 1999, right? And I just got back from Ohio and I decided to throw a New Year's Eve party for 2000. And I wanted to have my family and my friends. And I had a new apartment. I was all excited. So I was like, you know what? I want to have some music. So I had all my CDs and I'm like, I don't want to keep changing CDs. I want to have it flowing. So I went to like this like little record shop and bought like this dual CD changer thing. And, it was just like to play CD to CD. So long story short, my friend Mark starts DJing on this thing. I'm like, I didn't know you were a DJ. Like I look at him, I'm like, get the hell out of here. So we're all dancing, we're having a good time. And that was like the first party like we ever had. The bells ring, we all have a great time. Everybody leaves at like 4 a.m. It was about 30, 40 people in my house. So, I got a taste. I was like, oh, this is cool. So after that time, I would just, mess around. I mean, it was like this, I think it was like a Newmark. Just, I would mess around with like CDs playing. And then I would like, okay, I like this. I would kind of get good at it. And then all of a sudden it was like, okay, I think I'm ready for the next step. And I want to, I bought turntables, started buying records. And then I just would go buy records over and over again. And it was just kind of like I got hooked. And, from dancing to DJ, I just liked buying music that made me dance. I didn't care who it was by. Like, I wasn't like, oh, I need just, Masters of Work records, which I did buy a lot of. But it was just like I walk in the record store and I would love, this is when like April Records or, Charlie at Vinylmania, whatever, somebody was like, I would just hear it like for the first 10 seconds, like, give me that one, give me that. And I would walk out with like $500 of records every time because I was just like, I didn't care. I was like, give it to me, and that's how it went. And the transition was seamless for me because I just like to dance. So I would make, then it was like I make like little cassettes or tapes and, burn them to CD, and listen to them just for myself because I wanted to hear my records, and then I would hear like, okay, my blends, I got, I would listen to Louis Vega CDs and be like, yo, he could blend for like 3 days. I got to like try to make my blends land a little longer, try to get a little experimental with beats and stuff like that. And, that's kind of like where it happened.
Wow. And then talk to us about the current state of DJing despite COVID. Are there too many DJs? Are there not enough DJs? Are there too many platforms? Describe the current state of DJing.
I mean, there's always going to be a lot. Like, I think there is a lot. Yes, there is a lot. There's a lot going on. That could be a good thing. Competition is good. If, you weed out things you don't like. I think it's just a different climate that nobody has experienced before. It's like this, being online, performing like one-on-one kind of thing. And for a lot of DJs, I don't know what theirs or experiences, but for me, it's like, I struggled with it at first, like to DJ, and have 5 people watching. You're like, oh, I wish there was 500, but whatever. To be on point, like it takes time to realize, you know what? I'm just practicing. I'm playing. If it's 1 or 1,000, it shouldn't matter. And it took a while to get there. And I actually have to throw a shout out to Steve Medoro because one day I'm online. I'm playing. There's about 10 people in the room, and I'm just playing like a deep set for myself and. I'm just, I never got into it like every week or every 2 weeks or 2 days or whatever. I would just play when I was in the mood. Like, I was like, okay, when I'm in the mood, I'll play. Like, there's no law to it. And I'm playing and somebody reaches out. It's Steve Dora's girlfriend. And she's like, why don't you come play for us? And
who's Steven Dora, by the way?
He does Depths of the Underground. He has this underground channel that he's out of Phoenix. Really good guy. Actually got to wish him well. He just got COVID, but he's doing better right now, but shouts out to Steve. And he was just like, yeah, man, I'm doing this channel. It's organic. And everything he said just resonated with me when I was younger. And I was like, you know what? I'd rather play for 10, 20 people that want to hear good music and that appreciate it and not, have to try to build his channel. So I would play for him like, whenever he couldn't do it. And it was cool. And it kind of got me back on my feet again with DJing because I took, I've been taking hiatuses. Like every so often I step away, I'm like, I get my moods, you know what I mean? Like there's a lot of politics involved in DJing. And, 1 minute you're the hot thing and everybody wants to book you. And then all of a sudden there's no gigs and you're like, oh man, what happened? And it's not you, it's the way things go, and I stopped producing as much or doing remixes, the label kind of went away. I raising my daughter and it was kind of like, I kind of was on my own in my own little world, like, and I was starting to miss it. And the pandemic just brought me back to speed. And it made me appreciate it again. You know, it was definitely opened my eyes again. I started listening to music like I was, 18 years old, going, okay, if you were going out, what would you want to hear? Like, do you want to hear the same shit that you grew up with, or you want to hear some new stuff? And I play for myself. I play for that 18-year-old, and I try to play, for the core people that I think would get it, and that's kind of how I made my name, was just play cool stuff. Like, don't worry about where it lands in terms of genre or, who's playing what.
I love that. Did you meet your wife in the club scene?
It's we knew each other for a while. We knew each other from the club scene, the club days. We were friends. We had mutual friends. We were always out and about. We would run into each other, like, every couple of years. I'm like, hey, what's up? And this one time I went to Limelight. It was, I think, was it Spider Room? And it was Phil D, Reverend P, and I was with my friend Carmen. And guess who's working the door? Milo. And I'm like, hey, what's up? This is my friend Carmen. We're here, Reverend P party, da-da-da. Oh, come right in. I was like, all right, cool. See you later. We'll be upstairs, And not thinking anything. I was like, oh, she's like, oh, come upstairs. I got drink tickets. I'll give you guys some drink tickets, whatever. So we're hanging out. We're having a great time. Milo comes. We're all hanging out. We're all friends. And Carmen from 718 Sessions. We're really good friends. We go back in the day. And we just, we're really casual. It's like, all right, I told her, like, yeah, give me your number. I'll give you a call. I want to make sure you got home okay. Like, totally nonchalant. And, whatever, I get home that night, I gave her a call. I was like, I hope everything was cool. Hope you got home okay. I left a message. And she was like, kind of taken back by that. She said, oh, that was pretty cool. And then I was like, oh, let's go for dinner. And then bang, that was it. Like, we went out to dinner. We had a great time. All of a sudden, it was like every weekend we were together, and we never missed a weekend. It was just that easy. We both into the same thing. And now we have a beautiful daughter. And she's my partner in crime.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah.
I'm going to do a bunch of rapid fire questions. I'm just going to say a name or a brand, and I want you to tell us what it means. But before that, let's get into, what's your definition of soulful house?
I mean, soulful house is just good feeling, man. It really gets to your soul. It makes you dance. It makes you feel good. It's just the vibe. It's basically R&B that you can dance to. It's just really, it's just that vibe. You can't beat it. And when you're around people that get it, it's a really beautiful thing. And the thing that I like the most, that it, like I said, I come from the whitest neighborhood in Brooklyn. Let's put it that way. And when I go to, clubs and everything, and I know everybody, and it's family environment, it's love, it's like, it's a beautiful thing. And you don't get that, like, in a lot of other scenes, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not trying to bash anything else, but their focus is not on the right things, you know what I mean? As much as visually it's great with the lights and the sound, the booming bassist, the systems are great, like, it's unbelievable. It's like, but it's a fake environment. Like, people aren't there, like, they're on something, so it's like, it's hard to, like, really feel it. Like, it's almost like a false sense of security. Whereas what I love about soulful house music is, like, you could just dance, have a good time, drink a glass of water, and it's like the people there are 99.9% just there to vibe, and that's to me, that's what soulful house music is.
Love it. What is a WMC?
Well, for me, it was a special place. Again, I used to go there as a fan, and this was way back. I want to say 98 or 99 was my first one. And again, with Mark and my crew, it was Sal, who was my partner in Deepa in the beginning. And we would go, and I didn't know shit about, like I said, Mark and Sal, they were the house junkies. They were doing it since the 18, they DJ, whatever. And I just came along for the ride. And it was like, it was cool. It was a great place to be. We saw DJs from, like, our MO was let's go see the San Fran guys, because we never could see them. Like, you know, we would go to like, you know, the defective parties. We would go to Miguel Miggs parties, you know, we say JJ and all those guys, because we love, you know, as a crew, we love the San Fran sound. Like early in the night, it was sexy, it was cool, it was deep, soulful, but, you know, it just had a different vibe. And we do that. And, you know, there was a lot of, you know, it was a couple other, you know, like Ben Watt would throw these dope parties. It was like maybe 100 people, but there was a dope, sexy scene, like beautiful women, you know, it was, you know, not saying, you know, beautiful men. It was just, it was an unbelievable event. Like it was something that, you know, that you never experienced before, at least for us. And it was like, it was great to like party with people that, you know, that just got the music from all over the world. I mean, it slowly, you know, lost its luster, like anything else. I think once, you know, house music became a little more pop, and, you know, there's these festivals and all this other stuff, and, you know, the money becomes involved, they go to other places, and people just ran with that. And there's nothing wrong with that. You know, if I was a little bit younger, I was single, I'd be, you know, going to Mexico and all these crazy festivals, chasing it, you know, myself. But, you know, that's, like I said, that's a different place and time. But like I said, at that time, it was perfect for me because, you know, I was young. I had, you know, started making money, and I just liked to travel, and, you know, we liked the music, and we just, you know, we got down. So it was definitely a great thing. And then sure enough, it all progressed at the same time. Went from being a fan to going there to throwing a party there, you know, and like we started throwing a Deepa party, you know, poolside party at the Sagamore Hotel. You know, here I am DJing, and, you know, Jelly Bean Benitez is there, Hex Hector's there, like all our friends are there. It was an absolute, you know, vodka party. So like we had, you know, our friends from the, you know, the West Coast, our friends from the East Coast, and it was just the right place, right time, and it was amazing.
What is Funkbox?
Funkbox to me is, I think it's like the resurgence of the younger, like, I don't want to call them, you know, breakers, but the dancing crews, like these younger kids, like, you know, you got to respect Tony Touch and Voodoo Ray, you know, God bless, rest in peace, Voodoo Ray. But they had something special, man. It was just, I would go there, I was like, oh, this is, you know, these are new jacks. Like, these are new kids that they never been to, you know, or they might have been to Shelter or something, but there was a lot more younger dancers, you know, like just going crazy, you know, they were a lot younger than a lot of the traditional house music parties that were going on. So going there was like, you know, a breath of fresh air to see that, okay, there's some younger kids other than the EDM stuff that are just doing what you're supposed to do when you go to hear house music. You're dancing, having a good time, and just being part of the, you know, being part of the party.
What is ROOTS NYC?
Well, that's like an institution for me. That's, you know, that's Louis O'Day. And, you know, I mean, yes, he did it with Kevin Hedge, but to me, like, Louis was the ambassador of house. Like, he's just, I mean, like I said, he's one of the creators of the style of music that I love to this day. Like his, you know, his MAW works are just, you know, still the best, you know, in terms, and how minimal they were, and just, you know, just how great, you know, and they're timeless records. So for him to just keep doing it consistently, and, you know, he's grown, his sound has grown, his parties have grown. He goes, you know, all over the world. He's he's one of the hardest working, you know, men in house music. And he's the coolest guy. Like, he's just the nicest dude. Like, I played for him one time, and, you know, he was like, I opened up early. I'm playing, you know, and he's gonna get on about 2. So he gets there, and he's like, "Oh, what's up?" Hey, I'm like, "Hey, what's up, Lou?" And I'm playing, and he jumps on the lights, like aerial left, and Louis on the freaking lights. And, you know, my friend, you know, I had him documented. Actually, there's a video, and he's like documenting Louis playing the lights, and like we're like, and I had a fedora on because that's when the fedora was the thing. So it was just like the most surreal thing to be in, you know, this yellow DJ booth, which, again, like I said, I started DJing so late in life, and to have the guy that I used to listen to his, you know, his CDs doing the lights, I'm like, what is happening right now? This is insane. Like, this, you know, some people, like, you know, they love Pearl Jam. It's like if I played a guitar solo for Pearl Jam. For me, it was like the craziest thing. Like, I couldn't believe it. Like, after that night, I mean, I was nervous as hell. you know, just being in the booth with him. And I'm like, don't fuck this mix up. You know, like, just, you know, and like I said, it was a great vibe. You know, the party was happening. It was like, it was unbelievable. And he was just the coolest guy.
Wow.
Yeah.
Talk to us about the future. What advice would you give the next generation of DJs?
You gotta know where your heart is, man. You gotta do it for the right reasons. You know, don't do it to be cool or you know, for the girls, wear all that crap, and stay straight, like stay straight and narrow. Don't mess around with drugs and get into that party lifestyle, because that shit will eat you up and spit you out fast. So, you know, that's why I think I enjoy it, because it was always a labor of love. It was a side thing for me, a side hustle. I respected it. I always treated it with respect. I was honored anytime I played with someone or some party that, you know, that I went to the party, like, you know, institutions. I played for 718, you know, and I played in the basement at Santos. And I was, again, it was like, holy shit, I can't believe you know, there wasn't that many. I was like the third guest. You know, Benny Soto reached out. He's like, yo, you want to play? I was like, do I want to play? What are you, crazy? Hell yeah. So it was like, you know, just having like the people you respect just asking you to come hang out and play records. You know, it wasn't about the money for me. It was, never was, you know. It was just about the love and being able to share energy with really cool people.
How did you manage having a serious corporate job, a day job, and nightlife at the same time?
I used to go out. So I would, you know, go to work all day, get up, go to work, listen to music all day while I work, because I'm a graphic designer, you know, by trade, you know, became art director, but I was listening to music all day. So I just heard it in my head, and I was like, I can't wait to get home, either to try to make it or DJ. You know, DJing came first, and then, you know, production came later. But you know, it was just a balancing act, like just having the time, you know, come home for work, DJ at night, and do it on the weekends. And then just having, like I said, my friends, we all were into it, you know, and I didn't have fear. I think that was my biggest thing of, you know, not having fear and just playing the records and just let it flow. You know, if you messed up a mix, whatever, just keep going. Like, don't let it, you know, don't get polarized by a bad mix, you know, just keep going. And yeah, that was it.
What is Pitch and Groove?
Pitch and Groove was a new idea. It started out with Bradford James. He was a friend of mine. You know, we both, you know, we were in the scene for quite some time, and we started doing parties. And the concept was basically play vinyl. Like, we're gonna play our vinyl. I was, you know, like I said, I just came back from LA. I was hungry. I was like, I want to do a new thing. I didn't want to do Deepa again. I wanted it to be a little bit different than Deepa was. Like, we wanted to rebrand. I wanted to rebrand myself. I wanted to work with, you know, Bradford, because he was down, and, you know, we made some progress. We had some really good events. Wanted to be a label and maybe take it to the next step, but we just had creative differences, and it just didn't work out that way. It's definitely, I trademarked the logo, but it's in my mind to make a record label at some point, when I have enough work and start working with some more guys or girls for music, and when, you know, I have some money to actually shell out to make some records, because it's not an easy task to do with you know, a pandemic and a family. So it's definitely, you know, it's definitely on the back burner for now, but you know, who knows, it might come back sooner or later.
And this is a prediction question, a hypothetical. COVID has impacted nightlife worldwide. Do you think New York will bounce back?
Oh yeah, without doubt. New York always does. You know, I was here for September 11th, and 2 weeks ago with all that shit in the Capitol, that feeling came back 12-fold. The only difference was I wasn't as sad, because I was very sad September 11th, because a lot of people, like, you know, innocent people lost their lives. And you know, there's a couple of people that I knew of, and just my, you know, because I talked about this to my wife the other day. I said, my my compassion, you know, I'm a very compassionate guy. It just, it overwhelmed me. Like September 11th just brought me down. Like, it was just like, you couldn't move. It was like, and same thing. I had that same feeling when I saw that shit going on in the Capitol. It was like, it was kind of like, oh my God, you know, got me really upset. And, you know, I just looked at my daughter and I said, you know what, the only good thing about this, as effed up as it is, and, you know, the poor officer lost his life, it wasn't worse. You know what I mean? And that's all I kept saying. I'm like, this could have been really bad. And thank God it wasn't. You know, the people that were in charge made sure everyone was safe. And that's all that mattered to me. And that's what I feel now. I'm like, you know what? You know, New York's been through it. We're tough. Like, we're tough. Like, we've been through so much, and music is what we need. Like, I talked about, I'm like, I just want to go to a 718 party. I just want to hear Danny. I just want to hear like Stomp really loud. Like, I just want to hear great records really loud, and I just want to let it out. And I know a lot of people feel like that. A lot of us, you know, because I went on Danny's New Year's Day party live broadcast, and try not to get choked up, but it was like a breath of fresh air. I was like, I'll take this, because I've gone to Danny Krivitz's like first party, like when he did the one in Brooklyn on Water Street. Like, I'm a Danny, like, so, you know, lover. I love Danny Krivitz. He's like my dude, and that's my party. Like, no matter what, no matter where I am, like, he grounds me. It's like, I just need to hear the guy that was there when those records were out just present them the way he thinks it should be presented. And that's why I love him. It's just, he presents it, and I feel like that was the first time he played the record.
What's next for Brian Burnside?
Well, what's next? I'm actually, I just released an EP on 3 Bridge Records. And I looked on the Deep House top 10, and it made it to the top 10 as releases. So there's 3 tracks on there. So I was very excited by that, because that was a lot of work that, you know, there was some stuff I made when I was in LA. And then, you know, when I came back to Brooklyn, I started, you know, I would make tracks and then put them out. And I just started, I was like, the one track I made, I had a new one that I made over the quarantine. It's actually called Quarantine. And this other track called Revelator, sorry. It's a soulful track that, you know, I had in the works, and I was like, you know what? I called a friend of mine. I was like, I want to master these. And he's like, all right, well, I need a logo. So why don't you make the logo and I'll master it? And David D-Soul, who he's known for a lot of the Shelter stuff he's doing right now. He took his time and did, you know, he put the sweet polish on it, as he likes, you know, puts the sauce, he calls it. And, you know, he polished it up, and I was like, damn, it sounds really good. And, you know, I submitted it to the boys at 3 Bridge Records, Greg Cuoco and Eric Shands. And like, yeah, you know, I actually had a couple more tracks. I was like, yeah, pick what you want, and let's see where it goes. And he picked them. And like I said, I have a EP out, and I've just been working on music, like, you know, just having fun in the studio, taking advantage of the time off, working on music, like waking up and working on music like a job for the last couple of months. So I've actually put some time into it where I never got to. So it was fun. You know, it's a lot of fun. A little stressed because, again, you know, the money's not coming back. But once I, you know, course corrected that, I was just like, okay, enjoy this moment. You know, I'm freelancing again. So I'm like, okay, cool. You know, having a go at it. And that's it. You know, just going to keep pushing music, try to keep, you know, hopefully you could get, you know, DJing again, you know, from here to San Francisco, wherever, you know, just want to be out and about every now and then, you know, not every day, but, you know, I like being relevant, you know, in little doses, and that's it.
Thank you so much. This was fantastic. Have a great day.
All right. Have a good one. Be good.
Bye-bye.